So today is the 9th of May 2025. This is ear acupuncture, group ear acupuncture at Ajax Harwood Clinic. And this is introduction to group ear acupuncture. So in this process, right, it's different than anything you've done before, right? In this process, everybody come because they have an idea in their head what they want, right? So that they want to accomplish something, right? So that's, you can't help yourself except have that idea in your head. Okay, so we know that, we recognize that, right? That's why people are here. However, in this process, we set it up so that there's in a way that you cannot get it wrong. Okay, it's like if you go to school, you have an intention to learn something. If you go to a yoga class, you have an intention to become healthy. If you go to a meditation class, you may have this intention that you want to quieten your mind, you want peace, right, in your head. Now, so there is an instruction that potentially you can say, well, if I don't do it right, I can get it wrong. So, I have people who come from meditation classes and they say, I can't do meditation. Whatever that means to them, they say, I can't do it. It's just not me, right? Yeah. So in this process, you can't get it wrong. Okay, I'll tell you why, okay? Now you're gonna say, well, how can I not get it wrong? Like, you gotta be able to get things wrong, right? I'll tell you why. Because this is the first thing, we give ourselves the permission to do nothing. If you give yourself permission to do nothing, then how can you get it wrong?
That's right.
Right? I mean, if you walked out of here, well, then you've done something, okay? But let's say you don't walk out of here, then you have done nothing, right? If you simply sit here and you just say, okay, I'm going to do nothing and see what happens. So you realize that doing nothing is not what we think it is, because things are happening still. Even though you say, I'm going to give myself permission to do nothing, you will notice certain things are happening. For example, we say the 3 B's, okay? You'll notice 3 B's. First B is the body. The body doesn't stop just because you say so, right? For example, the heart doesn't stop, right? That's obvious. But that's not just heart don't stop. Your skin don't stop. Your kidney don't stop. Your liver don't stop. Your ears don't stop, right? Even if you close your eyes, we do this process with the eyes closed, with the cell phone off, so you don't get any interruptions. You're going to see that your eyes don't stop. Even with your eyelid closed, the eyes still, this is a bright room, so you'll see light will come through your eyelid. Your eyes continue to do the eye thing. What does eye do? Eye sees, right? The ears hear. So these things don't stop. So the first beat, you realize that when you choose to give yourself the permission to do nothing, your body don't stop. This is a very important truth. Okay, this truth actually is very helpful. Okay, recognize you start to notice this body. The second truth you will notice is that your breath don't stop. Of course, it doesn't stop, because the breath causes oxygen exchange with carbon dioxide, because your body is alive. That is why, right? But it doesn't matter whether you understand or not. It's not important. You just notice the second beat, the breath doesn't stop. So in some process, you may have come across where people say, you need to breathe a certain way to do certain things, maybe to produce calm, you take a breath, whatever, right? In this case, in this practice, you don't need to breathe any particular way. You just pretend that you're that baby. You know how the baby breathes? The baby breathes. If you watch a baby in an incubator, the baby breathes perfectly. The baby knows exactly how to breathe, right? If you make a noise, the baby might breathe a little faster, because the baby is responding to what's happening. So whatever is happening in your body is what your breath does. Your breath responds to it, right? You can just observe the second beat. The third beat is the brain, okay? You will see, just like the body doesn't stop, the brain doesn't stop. So you just recognize it, okay? And then so this process is like, sometimes I get this a lot, okay? Even if you were ask, let's say, a lot of people on the street, what is meditation? A lot of them will tell you meditation is how I quieten my mind, okay? This is different, right? In this process, we ask you not to quieten your mind. Let your mind run. If the mind wants to be busy, let it be busy, just to see what happens, right? Okay, a lot of us have disciplined ourselves to control our mind. But just recognize, if you try to control your mind, you haven't got it wrong. Because trying to control the mind is also just more the mind doing it, right, to itself. Yeah. So just see what it is. So we call this observation unconditional. You're not trying to stop anything. You're not trying to, for example, people say, we need to observe and don't judge, right? And just let it happen. See, all those judging, don't judge, let it happen, don't let it happen, are all just thoughts. Just realize that's just, I call the braining. Just like the body makes sensation, the brain makes thoughts. And some of those thoughts are very subtle. When you sit here long enough, you realize what those things are. Sometimes it's very hard to see because they're happening so quickly, right? So that's why we take the time to make this observation. And this process, the closest thing I can tell you is kind of like sports, okay? Like riding a bike, like learning how to ski. Or baby learning how to walk. It doesn't try to learn to walk. It just starts. It just gets it because it keeps doing it. Eventually, it happens automatically. In the same way, certain things will start, the balance will come. That balance that we always want, right? Will come naturally just by simply sitting with it and observing things as it really is. So we don't say anymore. We'll start. Okay, in summary, okay, we want to make sure the phone is off. If you're brand new here, we keep the phone off. Keep your eyes closed if you can. And you cannot get it wrong. You will notice the body, the breath, and the brain will brain. And finally, this is not like a lecture where you have to believe anyone. This is not like going to class. The learning comes from just like the bicycle. The balance doesn't come from the books you read ahead of time or read afterwards. It comes from actually getting on the bicycle. So this learning it's unconditional. It will just happen. So you simply, in order for that to happen, you have to first show up and you have to trust that your body knows what to do, that your breath knows what to do, and your brain knows what to do. That's all. You just have to trust that the system knows what to do. And sometimes, trust means what? Trust means that sometimes your brain will bring up a question and the brain doesn't give you an answer. You just trust that's okay too. Just like if the brain says, how does a kidney work? And the brain doesn't know what it is, how it works, because you're not, let's say, a kidney specialist. Even the kidney specialist actually don't know for sure, because it's so complicated. So even if it doesn't have an answer, you can still trust that the kidney works. In the same way, you can trust that the brain works, whatever the brain is doing. So I'm going to pause here now. So about 35 minutes, I'll keep the clock and I'll be back.